Let's go ahead and jump right into what we got to talk about today. Give me the big idea. The Grizzlies taking on the Nuggets without Nikola Jokic this week, over the weekend. Getting healthier by the day, though. That man has been healthy the whole way. Jaren Jackson Jr. with a swat. Vince Williams also back in the lineup and meshing like he never left. The alley-oop to Santi Aldama. Grizz are up 12 at the half. In the second half, the ball movement's beautiful. Jalen Wells, shot won't go. Put it back then, Jaren. 20 points, 3 blocks for Triple J. The Grizzlies' defense was stifling in this one. Scottie Pippen Jr. there with a pickpocket. 10 points, 4 steals for SPJ. The Grizz' largest lead was 24 points, and then let's go home. Closing time for Desmond Bane. He flirted with a triple-double in this one. 11 points, 11 boards, 7 assists. 5 players in double figures, 31 assists on 41 buckets. Grizz win it 105-90. They'll see the Nuggets again on Tuesday.
Overall, great ball movement, built the lead in that third quarter, and a lot of that was just getting stops and just playing collective basketball. So very impressive, and we're going to have a challenge again. Not sure, if Jokic will be back or not, but obviously Strother hurt us, and we know what Murray's fully capable of. I thought we did a good job on Porter tonight, which was big. So we just got to be ready for whatever the challenge is on Tuesday.
We're going to bring our guy, Damichael Cole, is going to join the show. Grizzlies beat writer for the Commercial Appeal, graduate of Overton High School right here in Memphis. DC, what's happening with you, man?
What's up, Damichael?
What's going on, guys? How we doing?
Good, man. Good. Look, we're going to head and jump right into this one. You've been covering this team all year. A good win last night. What'd you like about what you saw from the Grizzlies last night?
Man, Sharon is caring. They were really productive from the standpoint of getting everyone involved. Jaren Jackson Jr. led the way in scoring. That's 5 straight games he's led them in scoring. But it was the way it happened. It wasn't some dominant, just get the ball to Jaren and move out of the way type of performance. Everyone was eating. Jaren didn't reach double figures until around the 8-minute mark of the third quarter. And then you talk about 31 assists on 41 baskets overall, 18 assists on 22 baskets in the first half. This team is learning to not rely on its star players to kind of bail them out of situations. And that, over the past few years, that's been the case in certain moments. And Desmond Bane talked about how this new offense is taking the pressure off of them and things like that. So the players are learning to adjust to this new scheme, this new offense. They're 13 games in now, and you're starting to see, some of the benefits of what could be with this new system.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the young guys, too, you talked about the depth a little bit there and how it takes the pressure off, like Bane and Jaren were talking about. But this is giving the young guys so much confidence. You see Jalen Wells kind of coming out the first 2 games to Michael, looking a little bit, iffy. And then all of a sudden he becomes a defensive juggernaut and is locking up Jamal Murray like it's no problem at all. And so I think, the depth overall on this team is really, really impressive. And you look at what Jalen Wells has been able to do this season. I think that he is one of the most impressive guys on the team so far. You pair that with Scottie Pippen Jr., both of their defensive ability, and then you add a guy like Jay Huff, who's 15th overall in efficiency rating, which is crazy.
Yeah,
going into the season.
Everybody in that whole scenario who's been coming off the bench has been really impressive. The team in and of itself is really doing it on both ends, and Damichael mentioned they're sharing is caring. Top 5 in both points per game, offensive efficiency rating, and defensive efficiency rating as well. It's really hard to do that on both ends, but what we've seen is that championship teams that make deep runs into the playoffs, often are in kind of the top 5 on both ends of the spectrum. I think what we've been able to see from Jalen in particular, Jay Huff, some of those other guys have really lent themselves to some of that. What have you liked about what Jalen Wells has brought to the table so far, DeMichael?
He's fearless. Jalen Wells is absolutely fearless. And I remember when we were out on the road trip, 3-game road trip out there, he's guarding LeBron James, and then he comes around in the next game, he's guarding Steph Curry. And I just asked him, I said, did you envision this for yourself as a rookie? You walk in and you're guarding LeBron James and Steph Curry, and he's like, no way. But he felt like he's always been able to play defense, right? Like at Washington State when he was in college, it wasn't, what he was so-called known for because of the style of defense they played and things like that. But Jalen Wells feels like he's always been a sound, solid defender. Now at the NBA level, he doesn't have, as much on him on the offensive end as we talked about with the Grizzlies, this offensive system, getting everyone involved, pass, cut. You're not holding the ball too long. You're not exhausting too much energy, dribble. in this case, that allows him to be able to put a lot of his energy on the defensive end, and he's embracing it. He knows, hey, I got Desmond Bain on the floor. I got Jaren Jackson Jr. on the floor. Those are two guys that could average 20+ points per game. You just need me to knock down some shots here and there, timely cuts, timely baskets, and where I make my money at is on the defensive end, and that's why he stayed in his starting lineup, even though guys are starting to come back and get healthy.
Yeah, he's been a fantastic depth piece. We actually got a chance to hear from Desmond Bain and Jaren Jackson Jr. on that very thing. What Jalen Wells has been able to contribute, as well as a number of other guys throughout the team.
Takes a lot of pressure off of us, in past years and stuff. Ja, myself, Jaren, have been relied on heavily to create a lot of offense and score a lot of points, and that's still happened from time to time. But when you have 6 or 7 guys flirting with double figures, it takes a lot of stress off of it.
You got some dudes out there like that really take the pressure off you, and that's really defensively. That's what it is. Yeah, they can score, and that's great. But I mean, the fact that the shots we're getting are from their defense.
So to everybody's point, Jaren and Des feel like they've really had the pressure taken off of them. Desmond Bain only had 11 points last night, right. And it got to a point where nobody had touched double figures quite yet when they were up 22 points, I believe, in the second half. That's almost unheard of. Normally what we've seen with this Grizzlies offense, especially when Ja is in the mix, is one of those 3 guys is kind of that head of the snake. And I think Jaren, that was still the case for him last night, but you can tell he's kind of pacing himself. He's really picking his spots a lot this year. I think all 3 of those stars are, but what you hear from them there is they're saying because so many of those guys, a Vince Williams Jr., a Jalen Wells, Jay Huff, when he comes in off the bench, gives you 10 points, but they're also playing really, really great defense and allows them to get into their offense so quickly.
Yeah, and a guy who we haven't really mentioned yet, Zach Edey, has been lighting it up this year too. And he's really come into his own, it feels like. Damichael, I don't know if you feel the same way, but it feels like he just continues to improve, continues to get comfortable. The not starting didn't set him back. He was okay with Jay Huff coming in. That's seemingly what it looks like. He leads all rookies in field goal percentage and rebounds, which is really impressive when you look at this rookie class overall. He hasn't shied away from a single battle. You really saw that against Washington and against Golden State, where he kind of gets in those scuffs a little bit. Yeah. He, like Jalen Wells, like you said, Damichael, is fearless. And it's been really fun to see as he really just becomes a fan favorite. We already knew he was a fan favorite, right, Damichael? But he's becoming even more so at this point.
Yeah, it's fun to watch because with Zach Edey, you got the accolades already. Like, it's different from Jalen Wells, second-round pick, who pretty much, went from D2 to Washington State to the NBA. In the case of Zach Edey, last 2 years of college basketball was the most dominant player in college basketball both seasons, two-time National Player of the Year. He comes to the league. Now he's playing a different role. He's talked about it a lot. The ball isn't in his hands as much. It's less post touches. It's more setting picks, shooting more three-pointers than he shot, in college and things like that. So he's adjusting game by game. But as you pointed out, one thing that's been noticeable if you're watching him, and he says it himself, is he goes back and watch film from a week ago, and it's drastic improvements from him. The rebounding is the thing that's really stood out to me the most, because when they got him, that was an area of weakness. Without Steven Adams, the Grizzlies have been a very mediocre rebounded team. And you go out and get this guy and you say, hey, we know you're a rookie, but we need you to rebound the ball at a high level. And so far, okay, no problem. He is near the top of the NBA in offensive rebound percentage. As you mentioned, he's leading all rookies in rebounding. So he's capitalizing on those opportunities. And you're going to see his minutes, as he learns the game, as he continues to learn the nuances of the game. As he said, Taylor Jenkins wants him to be able to play, and be able to fit in this up-tempo, fast-paced style that they're playing. He wants to see Zach Edey transition from end to end, offensively and defensively, and continue to be, as productive. He's going to have to get those fouls down a little bit. His foul numbers are kind of high right now, but if he can get those numbers down, it's going to help his availability, which means his minutes are going to go up, and you're really going to see that production, have an uptick going forward.
I think the pressure is kind of off of him as well, simply because of the way that Jay Huff has come in and played really well to start the year. Brandon Clark's had his struggles to kind of start the year, but because he has those guys in that kind of rotation of big men alongside Jaren, I do think it takes some of the pressure off of Zach Edey as well. He kind of had that sequence where he had a block. The Nuggets ended up getting the offensive rebound, and then Zach Edey then gets a steal that starts the break. They get a bucket on the other end. Those are the kind of plays he's been able to make. Runs the floor a lot better than I think we thought that they would or he would in this particular year, especially early on trying to figure it out, being a bigger body, but he's done well here in the early part of the season. Let's get into another part, a big aspect of this team. Ja Morant has been injured, looking to come back from a subluxation in his hip, which basically means it dislocated and went back into place. Damichael, you had a chance to talk with a doctor out in L.A. while you were on your road trip about what's been going on with Ja. What can you tell us about how soon we can see him back in the lineup? We should get an update. We're waiting on an update from the Grizzlies today.
Yeah, we'll get an update here soon. But I think it's more positive than people have made it out to be. If referencing the story that you just talked about, when I talked to this doctor who has over 20 years of experience, dealing with all type of hip injuries and things like that. He's a doctor for, a Team USA men's soccer national team, doctor for the LA Galaxy of the MLS. So some very prominent players have come through, both of those organizations and whatnot. But the thing that stood out to me was the fact that Ja really actually avoided, a bigger injury, as you mentioned, with the subluxation and it not being a full dislocation because the thing came back. It came out of socket and then it came back on its own. If he would have fully dislocated he would be out much longer. But that was completely avoided. The doctor said, estimate wise, and when he's giving these estimates, I like to remind people that he doesn't have the inside knowledge of like Ja Morant's, he doesn't have access to Ja Morant's MRI scans and things like that. He's given the experience based on, what he's dealt with athletes, over the past 20 plus years. The timeline that he told me was roughly around this time, if that's all it is, the hip subluxation, pelvic muscle strains, usually 3 to 6 weeks is the timeline. He also said a big indicator of Ja Morant's progression would be him no longer being on crutches. While we were out in LA, he was still on crutches. But if you saw at the recent Grizzlies home game against the Nuggets, Ja Morant was on the bench and he was not on crutches, which should be taken as a very positive sign. So now that he's off crutches, what you're going to see is him be able to do more basketball type activity. They're going to build him up in that way. And then sooner than later, as he said himself, he should be getting closer to a return here.
Yeah, he quote tweeted our friend Anthony Sane, right? When Anthony Sane was saying, like, I think it's going to be a positive medical update on Ja. And then Ja responds and is basically like, yeah, it's going to be better than y'all think. So it could be sooner rather than later that we see Ja Morant back in the lineup. The Grizzlies will take on the Nuggets again for the second time in a couple of days here on Tuesday. That'll be an NBA Cup game. Damichael Cole, we appreciate you, my guy. You can read all of his work over at the Commercial Appeal, and we'll make sure to tap in with you again because you are officially a friend of the show, my friend, because now that you've joined us, we'll be bringing you back.
And as a friend of the show,
Hey,
Damichael,
man, let's make it happen.
as a friend of the show, I had one more question for you. Damichael, a proud Tennessee volunteer, proud graduate of University of Tennessee. Are you okay? Is everything okay after the Georgia loss? I know 8 years in a row it can be tough.
Oh, no.
I just wanted to check on you.
We want him to come back, man. Come on.
I know. No.
Hey, look, man, at the end of the day, you can talk about the 8 years in a row all you want. But when you mention the 8 years in a row, you got to mention what happened the last time we beat them as well. I was in college when that happened. That was one of the best days of my college time. So, you know what? If you told me then, if we got that Jawan Jennings Hail Mary, we would sacrifice the next 8 years against Georgia. I'll take it again. So it is what it is. We're still in the playoff hunt. We ain't going anywhere.
We'll always remember that.
Damichael, we appreciate you, man. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Damichael.
All right, take care, guys.